Hey Bookaholics, this is Isabel and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 books I've read from my 5 books TBR. Now, I know that was posted not too long ago, but I had finally published that because it was late, and by the time I had published it, I had one more book to read. So here I am with another wrap-up. And I'm not wearing my glasses, I just blow dry my hair, and I was very hot from my shower, so my glasses kept fogging up. So I might look a little bit different without my glasses on, but let's just get right into the first book. So the first book is Half-Blood Blues by Essie Dugan. As I mentioned in my TBR, I wasn't too sure about this book. I did try a lot, and honestly, it is a very important book. I could feel that, but I just wasn't getting into it. It's hard to say because the writing just wasn't sucking me in. I think part of that is that it was written in a way that it was following the person and how he thought, and the way he thought wasn't grammatically correct. I just kept getting thrown off by that. Instead of saying they were, it was always they was, and it was just very hard to get into it. There's a lot of instances that happened and it just kept throwing me out of the book. And then I did move on to the audiobook and I still just couldn't get into it. This one just wasn't quite for me. I'm not saying it's a terrible book, despite some of the grammatical mistakes, which I don't actually believe were mistakes. I think it was meant to be that way. It was very good. It was a very important story and it had very serious issues in it. I just could not get into it and it just wasn't quite for me. I am DNFing it, unfortunately. The next one on this list is If I Never Met You by Vari McFarland. Now this book was a lot of fun to read. I had such a fun time with it. I was really invested in the characters and what they're pursuing, and honestly it was so much fun. This one essentially follows a girl who is with her longtime boyfriend of 18 years, and randomly he comes and tells her that he doesn't want to be in a relationship anymore, and then finds out that he impregnates a woman 2 weeks after that. So like, it just follows her as she runs into this guy Jamie, who is seen as the playboy of the lawyer office that they work at, and they come to a realization that they should fake a relationship so he can get a promotion and she can get back at her longtime ex-boyfriend. Although it was a lot of fun, I really enjoyed it. The ending was very rushed, and I didn't really care for like all the back and forth and all the misunderstandings and all of that stuff that comes with romance and all that. So it did bring that down a bit. It could have been a 4 or 5 star book, but the ending was very rushed and just seemed out of character for both of them and how it happens. It was still a lot of fun. I still really enjoyed it, but it wasn't one of my all-time favorite romances that I thought it could have been. So the next book on this list is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. So this one I did really enjoy. I learned a lot. This book follows a non-binary character who is thrown out by their parents after they revealed that they were non-binary, and it just follows after they reconnect with their long lost sister and start a new school and kind of comes to themselves eventually and learns to accept themselves. And I really enjoyed this. I didn't get quite sucked into it as I thought I would. It was still very enjoyable and I learned a lot. I can't say that it's great representation because I am not non-binary, but I still really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and if you do want to read more LGBTQ books and you haven't found one that has a non-binary character, I would recommend trying this one out. The next one on this list is Love and Luck by Jenny Evans Welch. I went into this one a bit hesitant because Love and Gelato was not my favorite. I still enjoyed Love and Gelato, but I ended up loving this one a lot more. Part of that is that I did go to Ireland for 2 months and I absolutely loved it, and it was just a fun time kind of going back there and through this book, so that might have been a factor. But I also found that this one dealt with more friendship and family than love. This one was more about kind of loving yourself and coming to accept what's happened to you and expressing that to the people who your family and your friends who are around you and all that. So it wasn't about the love, and Love and Gelato just had a lot of insta love in there and I really didn't care for that. So I especially enjoyed this one a lot more. I had so much fun and I just love going back to Ireland through this book. So yeah. If you don't know, this book follows a character who is going to Ireland for her aunt's wedding, and something happened back home that she's kind of running away from, and her one brother is mad at her for not coming out front and telling what happened, because a lot of the stuff that happened affected him as well. So through this, her and her brother are supposed to go to Italy together, but he has his own plans and was gonna go travel Ireland with his friend Rowan. So like all this stuff happens after that, and it was just a lot of fun. If you want a travel book, I would highly recommend this one. The next one, How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow. So this is the second time that I tried reading this, and I finally finished it. I think the first time I read it as audiobook, and possibly maybe I just didn't really care for the voice actor of it. So I read this as physical copy and I loved it so much more. Like, it was such a great book. It really delved into grief and how all this stuff that's happening in your body when you grieve, like all the mental anguish and all the physical anguish that goes with that, really affects how you respond to people in your life and how you respond to everything that might be going on. I have lost someone very, very close to me when I was 15, and I went through my own stages of grief, and I'm still going through a lot with that. But I really enjoyed reading this and relating to it so much. I haven't gone through everything that the character in here went through. She lost her mother, and it was just her and her mother, so she gets put into the system. It was just very fascinating and interesting and so relatable to follow Tiger as she goes through her own grieving and comes to her own. Like, she'll always be grieving for her mother, and that is something that a lot of people don't quite understand when they haven't lost someone. When you lose someone, there is a hole in your heart and it never goes away. And I just really, really enjoyed this book, and I could relate to it so much. So this is my absolute favorite book out of all 5, and I loved it. So those are the 5 books that I read. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have read any of these books, or if you have any different opinions or anything like that. Let me know down below in the comment section. Let me know what you're reading and what you're wrapping up and what was your favorite book. And yeah, so subscribe if you have not yet, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye!